You know that feeling when your bank account isn't empty, but it also doesn't feel safe? Like one unexpected car repair, one medical bill, one uh-oh moment, and suddenly the whole thing starts wobbling. Honestly, that's where a lot of people live financially. Not broke, not secure, just kind of balancing on a chair with one leg shorter than the others. And I think about this stuff way too much. My name is Threk, and I spend a lot of time thinking about money, financial habits, and why some people always seem calm while others are constantly fighting fires, even when they make decent money. Because the truth is, financial stability usually isn't about doing 1,000 complicated things. It's about following a few minimalist money rules so consistently that life has a harder time knocking you over. That's the shift I want to talk about here. Not getting rich overnight, not chasing some perfect system, just building a financial life that doesn't collapse every time reality gets a little rude. Keep your money decisions simple. A lot of people think stability comes from having more options, more investments, more accounts, more strategies, more apps with graphs that look like they were designed by a spaceship pilot. But usually the opposite is true. The more cluttered your money life gets, the harder it is to notice what's actually happening. Think of your finances like a kitchen counter. If it's covered in 10 half-used gadgets, old receipts, random chargers, and a coffee mug from 3 days ago, cooking becomes annoying fast. But if the counter is clean, you can actually work. Money is the same way. Simplicity creates visibility, and visibility creates control. A simple money system might be boring. Fine. Boring is underrated. Boring is often what keeps you from making emotional decisions at 11:47 p.m. because some ad told you this one purchase would change your life. It won't. It'll just make your email receipts longer. So the first rule is this: simplify your money life until you can explain it without getting tired. One checking account, one savings account, and one clear goal at a time. That's enough for most people. Spend less than you earn, no exceptions. This sounds almost insultingly obvious, but it's the rule people break over and over while acting surprised that their finances feel unstable. If your spending is consistently higher than your income, nothing else matters for long. Not your budget app, not your side hustle dreams, not the inspirational post you saved and never looked at again. There's a hidden kind of stress that comes from always spending at the edge of your income. It's like driving with the gas light on because technically the car still works. Sure, but do you really want to live like that? Every month becomes a race against the calendar. I've seen this pattern a lot. People get a raise and immediately adjust their lifestyle upward. Slightly nicer meals, slightly nicer subscriptions, slightly nicer everything. And suddenly the raise disappears without ever becoming stability. That's lifestyle creep, and it's sneaky because it wears the costume of progress. The fix is painfully simple. Every time your income rises, let part of that raise go straight into savings or investing before your spending gets a chance to expand. If you don't decide ahead of time, your lifestyle will decide for you. And your lifestyle, honestly, is usually not that disciplined. Build a buffer before you build dreams. This one matters more than people admit. Financial stability is not just about making money. It's about surviving bad timing without panic. That means cash reserves, emergency funds, a buffer that can catch life when life does that thing where it jumps out from behind a door with a bill in its hand. You do not need a perfect emergency fund on day one. You just need something. A starter cushion, enough to handle a surprise without reaching for debt instantly. Because debt, especially high-interest debt, can turn a small inconvenience into a months-long headache with interest attached, and nobody wants to pay extra money for the privilege of being stressed. A buffer also changes your psychology. When you have even a little money set aside, you stop making decisions like a cornered animal. You stop saying yes to bad choices just because they're immediate. You start acting like a person with options. That matters more than people think. So if you want stability, treat your emergency fund like a seatbelt. You hope you don't need it today. You're very glad it's there when you do. Keep fixed costs low. This is one of the most powerful minimalist rules because fixed costs quietly control your life. Rent, car payments, subscriptions, insurance, phone bills, all of it adds up and locks in your monthly pressure level. The higher your fixed costs, the less room you have to breathe when something changes. And something always changes. That's the annoying part. Work shifts, rent goes up, cars break, plans fall apart. Life is basically a professional at changing the rules mid-game. The mistake people make is upgrading fixed costs too early because it feels like a reward. New apartment, new car, nicer everything. But every permanent expense becomes a little anchor. Enough anchors and your financial boat stops moving with any flexibility. I'm not saying live like a monk in a bare room staring at a wall. I'm saying be intentional. Keep the big commitments modest enough that your life still has room to adapt. If your fixed costs are low, your stress is lower, your saving is easier, and your mistakes are less fatal. That's a pretty good trade. Automate the good stuff. Humans are emotional. We like to imagine we're rational, but we're absolutely not, especially tired, bored, or slightly irritated by a notification. That's why automation matters so much. It removes decision fatigue from the parts of money that should not depend on mood. Automatic transfers to savings, automatic investing, automatic bill payments. These are small systems that protect you from your future self, who will eventually get tempted by something, forget something, or just this once something. There's a weird peace that comes from money moving the right way without your constant supervision. It's like setting the train on its track instead of trying to push it uphill every day by hand. And once automation is in place, stability becomes less about willpower and more about structure. That's the key. A stable financial life shouldn't require heroic effort every single week. It should mostly run in the background while you live your life. Because if your money only works when you feel disciplined, then your system is fragile, and fragile systems snap. Avoid debt that steals your future. Not all debt is the same, but some debt is absolutely toxic. High-interest credit cards, payday loans, and expensive personal debt can quietly drain your financial progress like a leak in the floorboards. You keep filling the bucket, wondering why nothing changes, and meanwhile, the money is disappearing through a crack you've been stepping over every day. This rule is simple. If debt is costing you a lot, make it a priority. Not because debt payoff is glamorous, it's not, but because removing pressure is one of the fastest ways to create stability. Paying off high-interest debt is like giving your future income a raise. And there's a psychological relief that comes with debt freedom that people underestimate. When you're no longer juggling interest, minimum payments, and guilt all at once, you think clearly. You stop feeling like your next paycheck is already spoken for before it arrives. So if you want a minimalist money life, don't carry expensive debt longer than necessary. That money should be working for you, not constantly escaping from you. Invest after the floor is stable. A lot of people want to jump straight to investing because investing feels like progress. It feels grown up. It feels like future success. And yes, investing matters a lot, but investing before your basics are stable is like planting flowers on top of a shaky fence. Looks nice for a minute, then the wind shows up. First comes emergency savings, then manageable spending, then low fixed costs, then debt control. After that, investing becomes powerful because the money can actually stay invested. That's where compounding gets to do its job without being interrupted by every random emergency. And when you do invest, keep it simple. You do not need a financial circus. You need consistent contributions, patient thinking, and a long enough horizon to let time do the heavy lifting. Wealth building is usually less about genius and more about repeated calm behavior. That's what makes this rule minimalist. You don't need 10 different approaches. You need the right order. And honestly, structure is what frees you. It sounds restrictive at first, but it's the opposite. A good structure reduces chaos, and less chaos means more choices later. Closing thought. Minimalist money rules work because they keep you focused on the things that actually matter. Spend less than you earn, keep cash reserves, keep fixed costs low, automate the good stuff, avoid expensive debt,
Invest when the foundation is strong. Review the system, not the drama of the week. That's financial stability in a nutshell. Not fancy, not flashy, just solid. And maybe that's the real point. You don't need a perfect money personality. You don't need to become some hyper-disciplined spreadsheet wizard. You just need a few simple rules that protect you from your own chaos and from life's habit of being inconvenient at the worst possible time. So if your goal is to stay financially stable, don't make your money life bigger. Make it cleaner, make it calmer, make it harder to break. That's how you build a life where money supports you instead of constantly distracting you.